Hey, Charles here with a quick look at 2K Marin's BioShock 2. If you played the original made by 2K Boston, you'll recognize a big difference with this one right off the bat. In BioShock 2, you play as a Big Daddy. Set after the events of the first game, the underwater world of Rapture has eroded a little, but there are still plenty of splicers running around to fight, little sisters to save, and Big Daddies to wrangle with, as well as familiar characters like Tenenbaum, along with some new ones. The most notable new enemy type that's been revealed so far is the Big Sister, who you'll frequently come up against as you move through the game. She wears Big Daddy gear, but she's a lot more agile, can run along walls, and will generally prove to be a formidable opponent. So though you're a Big Daddy, you're a special type. For combat, you can use an assortment of Big Daddy gear like shoulder charges or the drill arm, which is great for wiping out splicers. We've been told by 2K Marin that because a Big Daddy is tougher and more powerful than a regular old human, like the first game's protagonist, you can expect battles to involve larger numbers of enemies. If you happen to catch a splicer all alone, chances are they might book it in the other direction. Like in the first game, your character here can still use more weapons and plasmids. You'll get an upgradable rivet gun and access to things like cyclone traps and the incinerate plasmid. These can be combined in interesting ways as well, such as placing a cyclone trap on the ground, then hitting it with incinerate, which launches enemies into the air while wreathing them in flame. Though we haven't seen that much yet, so far it seems like the game will deliver some of the same styles of play as the original, along with some interesting new twists, and we're looking forward to seeing more of 2K Marin's sequel, scheduled to be released this fall on Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and PC platforms.